Pumpkins coming along. Forage that is about to bloom. Ooh. We got ladybugs on these pumpkins. This marigold is about to bloom. If you see that little red bud right there. We got flowers, we got ladybugs. This onion has been trying to flower for freaking forever. Male blooms do not carry fruit. They are just for pollinating. The female flower is what carries that fruit when it's pollinated by one of those male flowers. More ladybugs. Strawberries. Oliver, what are you rolling in? Please don't. Is that poop? Peppers coming along. All this sweet potato is so happy with the transplant I did. I'm so glad. I thought I killed all of it. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm fucking this up. But you know what? I think it's gonna be fine. Okay, let's harvest. It won't be as much work next year. Next year I'm gonna actually properly mulch over here. But not this year because I've been focusing on mulching literally everywhere else. Bill might be like, why the hell are you doing that? This is a land restoration project, y'all. The more area that you take care of and get the weeds out of around your garden, the more you won't have it just creeping right up past that barrier. Instead, the barrier is like way over there, you know? That's part of it, but mostly because this space desperately needed help. It was all gravel and weeds, and that was just freaking awful. And I felt like since I live here, I feel responsible for this section of land to actually make it fertile soil again. So that's why all that mulch is over there. This is our first spring salad harvest. Very, very exciting. I've not had this much lettuce growing in any of my previous years gardening, so the idea of making a full salad, not just like something that I'm gonna mix in with some store-bought greens, is new here on the homestead. It's definitely a dream coming true right now. Something to keep in mind when you are harvesting, if you want to make your harvest last, is that, and this is for foraging as well, you want to only harvest a third of what's on the plant. You have a third there for potential wildlife and insects to eat, and a third for the plant to retain means for photosynthesis. 3-3-3, that's the rule. It's also good to strategically pull these so that where they overlap with another plant and preventing photosynthesis for that plant, that's the leaves that you really want to harvest so that you get more harvest later. And if you have leaves that are extending over the ground and not over another plant, those are the things you probably want to keep, because as you notice, nothing germinates right directly under, but rather beside and where it gets light. So woohoo! We're still using the cilantro lime sauce that we made from this, so I'm not going to harvest any of this yet. The spinach wants to flower, so if we take that off and use the leaves, be what's best for this plant. I wanted to show y'all though that these sunflowers, I think they are about to bloom. You can tell. Look at that. Oh, look at that. These are gonna be short though. It's a little bit disappointing. I didn't want them to be all miniature sunflowers. Hopefully they keep getting taller even after they bloom. We now have freaking 4 loofah plants. 1, 2, 3, and down there's the 4th one. I'm very excited about that because apparently loofah is kind of hard to grow and get a harvest from, so the more plants, the merrier. Oh, you know what? I need to harvest up some dandelion greens as well. smaller and younger these dandelion greens are, the better they are, like the more tender they'll be. Add that in the basket. These are, all these big ones, those are gonna be bitter. But do you see these little ones at the base here? That's gonna be a more tasty tender. Nice and tender. Go off. This is what we need. This is some really nice tender greens right here. What I like to do after a rain is close this solar chicken coop door and okay, stay. So while the sun's coming through here, since we had a big rain, I'm gonna open this up to make sure that the chicken coop doesn't stay wet in there, so when they go back in again tonight it'll be all dry. Otherwise there's like no freaking point. Okay, and yeah, as you can see I finally replaced it with the sand. What a lovely freaking harvest. So I just finished submerging it in here so any bugs and dirt will come off. You want to just mix it around, or if you have one of those spinny mixers you can do that and let it out to dry. You don't want it to be all soggy when you store it, but you also don't want it to dry out too much, so just have it out for maybe a couple hours, toss it over once halfway through, and then it'll be ready to go in the fridge or in your belly. Drop. Okay, wait. Good boy. Come here, honey. The difference between free range and pastured is that pastured is actually outside. Free range, under like the requirements for the label, it just says at the farmer's discretion. There is a door from where the chickens are that leads straight to where direct sunlight comes through, just at their discretion. So they never actually have to ever let those chickens out of a building, but they can still charge more with that label. And they could charge even more with pastured, but they're not actually letting them outside, which is why they don't earn that label of pastured. It's not to say that every farmer that gets free range never lets out the chickens, but it is to say that's a loophole that, you know, people can just say that so that you would rest assured and pay more. Even if you did try to like tour their farm, like letting them know that that was a priority for you, they could trick you by just letting them out that day that you're there. But pastured chickens, in order to get that label, they do have to be out every day. I'm just trying to save you a few cents if those of you who are already paying a little extra to get free range, or push you if you have the money to pay a little bit more if that's what you're willing to do, and that's your choice anyway, to go ahead and get the pastured eggs and tell you that it is worth it. And that really makes a big difference for the chickens. Don't be afraid to ask questions to your farmers when you're trying to pay extra for your animals to be treated well. Know your words. Know what means what. Up close. In the video I just went over Johnson grass, but I want you guys to actually be able to identify stuff. This is Bermuda grass. See how this Bermuda grass has kind of a blue hue? That's another way to tell that that's what you've got going on. It basically just sows itself through the ground. So if you put down like a tarp or something, it would just weave in and out of that and grow up through there. Which is why it takes like 3 layers of cardboard and then a layer of mulch on top if you actually want to compete with that stuff without spraying anything. This is barley. This is wild lettuce, also called prickly lettuce, as you can see. Milky substance, pain relief medicine. Kind of looks like a dandelion, and dandelions are good for you too. Dandelion roots prevent heart disease and treat high blood pressure. This is dandelion. It is soft to the touch. You can run your fingers along both sides without any pricklies. This is the Johnson grass. Now, I wanted to talk about how Johnson grass can have a bottom leaf that's been torn off, especially if you mowed. Do not mistake a torn bottom leaf as the baby leaf on corn. Look at that. That is a smooth, round baby leaf on corn. Johnson grass. What does it do? Make you think it's corn and leave it there and then it spreads 200 feet. Hello. This is Japanese Brahms grass, the fuzzy. And we also have a lot of rescue Brahms growing here, which is this thing. This stuff right here is actually called Kentucky bluegrass. Really good quality forage. This stuff, a favorite of chickens. That's why it's called chickweed. I'll go ahead and show you something that I seeded here, or rather germinated for my chickens' feed. What is this? This is flaxseed. So I'm very excited for those to spread. Flax has really pretty blue flowers. Plant a lot of people don't know that looks like a weed if you don't know it is asparagus. Ta-da! The same root ball. Yeah. What we're used to eating is this immature. They start to open up and then they fan out